I mean, I'd freak out like that too, a naked dude on a horse, that's exactly me.
I don't know why there's a lion on the scare over horses.
It's a Danish scare.
Yeah, wait, who would win, a lion or a horse? Because I want to say a lion.
Probably the human.
Yeah, probably the human on the horse.
Okay, but a horse just by itself.
Honestly.
A horse by itself.
That's
could probably
more like
outrun the
what it
lion if
should
it really
be.
has to.
Right there.
Robert is a long time. How long have you lived in Berlin?
Living in Berlin? I mean, I came here in 1980, which is
A long
a
time.
long time ago, right? I started
Yeah.
counting with years. But I've also lived in the United States for some time. Should I start myself?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just take over now. So hi, I'm Robert. I wasn't born in East Berlin, but I grew up in East Berlin. And it has to be, you have to be very precise about this because in Berlin, it's still, at least my generation, it's still kind of, you say, East or West Berliner. People who come to Berlin currently, they rather say I live north or south of the river Spree. That's kind of the way people divide Berlin now. But in the old days, East and West, it's just it's just two different worlds basically. So I experienced the Berlin Wall. I experienced the fall of the Berlin Wall in Berlin when I was young. I was 15 years old when the wall came down. So I already had my life in East Berlin, and I grew up there. And I was just now listening actually to a rock band from the old days, Division, which is I was kind of amazed like how advanced people were even like musically trying to like make a life or make like something fun like in the eastern part. And I will talk about this as well. After the wall came down, Germany unified a year after that. And then it's kind of Berlin started merging together, but I would even say even today, at least people of my generation, for them it's still kind of, oh, that's the West and that's the East, right? Now my parents tried to westernize me. I was a white kid in those days. I had a red mohawk. I was a vegetarian. I hated capitalism, and so they said, "Well, you got to go to the United States now." I said, "Great." I came back with red, black, and green dreadlocks. That was
Nice.
red mohawk, and it went worse. I talked to my parents and said, "Listen, I think you failed," and they said, "No, we didn't." And I started studying American literature, and ever since I was kind of, I know, the United States never left me, and so on. And like, it's still inside of me. And I've been working as a guide for many years. I lived in Italy also after a few years then, in Florence, and I studied American literature in Florence, which is the thing to do in Florence. And I came.
Ezra Pound or something.
Yeah, right, Ezra Pound, right. Right, and so I actually came back, and now I'm here in Berlin, and I figured out that this is the city where I want to live. So after traveling the world, I said, it's a cool city. So I'm gonna give you like a tour today about what's going on in Berlin. I'm gonna show you like the most important sites and so on. And Peter just asked me to show you bullet holes, and it's so, I mean, you come to Berlin and you think, where are the bullet holes? And then standing around you, they're everywhere. They're just around it. I mean, this is a ball behind us. You see, see the big holes in that? This is granite. It's a one piece. It's actually the biggest ball made of one piece of granite in the entire world. It's a big. There's actually competition. In St. Petersburg, there's a thing which is double the size, and they claim to have the biggest one, and it's double the size, but it's oval, and balls are never oval, so this is the true biggest ball in the world. And everyone likes to look inside, and there's only thing you find inside is empty beer bottles. You see the bullet holes in there, and it's granite. You can't fix granite because it's like it falls off when you put like plaster or concrete in it. It's the same over here. I mean, it's like look at the columns. You see the little pieces. I mean, you see some holes in there which are fixed out. But also, like very often, they would take pieces out and then replace them. And as we're going to walk around, I'm going to show you the other side of this building. There's even more of that. So even I remember when I grew up, this cathedral, the dome, the Berliner Dome, did not have a dome. It had a dome, it was destroyed. And I still remember the Neues Museum, which is the museum behind, you see in a minute. I still remember that being 3 walls and trees growing out. And the reason why this big cathedral, what we call cathedral, is here, and it's actually a Protestant church, is because of the palace. The king of Prussia at that time actually was the emperor of Germany, William I. He decided, I want to show to the world that Berlin is for the Protestant, but Rome is for the Catholics, the center of the Protestant religion, right? Which is kind of obscure, it's absurd because Protestantism doesn't have a center. Anyway, so he claimed that, and he put a copy of St. Peter's right here. Kind of, you don't know it looks a bit like St. Peter's in Rome, and then they finished it in 1905. So it's a very new building, and that's also one of the reasons why they never clean it, because they want to make it look old, right? Because the material they're using outside is sandstone, and sandstone ages. After about 100 years, it turns black. So now, 100 years later, it's black, and so they never clean it it because it looks older now. So now back to the Garden of Pleasure. That used to be like the royal church, the most important church for the royal Berliners. And all the upper class people usually had their services on Sunday morning there. And then they had also their kids with them. And they wanted to meet the kids from the same stratum, right? From the same kind of social background. And so the young couples were walking around here talking about pleasurable things, and so that's why it's called the Garden of Pleasure. So anyway, and as where we're staying right now also, later on in history and during the Nazi period, there was actually a place where Hitler loved to give speeches in Berlin. I mean, you can imagine the perfect setup, you know, Nazi flags left and right, the beautiful columns behind him, and right here where we are used to be the stage. And then Hitler would speak to the masses. And today, actually, that's a reason why this square, it used to be a square, is not a square anymore, but a park. You see there's kind of this elevated grass there. And I put it up here because they wanted to, using a legal trick, because they wanted to make sure that no Nazis ever will be able in history to ever have a rally in here. And so they turned this place, a square, into a park. And so you can't have a rally in a park. And a square, yes, and a park not. So that's why the grass is here. Which is a perfect setting for a sunny afternoon beer, or morning beer. You see the beer bottle standing around you in the morning that cleans up. Anyway, right. So there's more to see here. There's the museum. It's called the Altes Museum. Actually, there's more bullet holes up there, but you're gonna see more bullet holes all the time.